Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Family Business New Orleans. I've already covered the first episode. This is a spin-off from the original Family Business that's located in New York. LC Duncan and his family are there. So anyways, I'm loving this spin-off series. Hopefully you are too. This is episode 2 of the whole series. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. You can leave your comments below. Now let's get into this episode. Okay, so I just call them the LeBlanc crew. We see them at the swamp, and they're throwing out bodies into the lake. And I was like, well, who are they throwing out? And I forgot Red and his son that they previously unalived. So while they're doing that, they spot Pierre's car, and they see somebody in it, and they're like, what in the world is going on? So they go over there, and they point a gun at this man, and they want to know who he is. And they're just like, he's like, well, it's a big mistake to be putting that gun at me. Then they demand him to get out of this car. We don't see the face or whatever. Floyd and Ernestine, that's the witch's name. So now she wants to give Floyd a bath. A witch's bath ain't nothing nice. And it's basically summoning a lot of spirits onto that person. They think it's something magical or something that's giving them breakthrough. No. So this witch is really cooking them. That's what I was saying in the last episode. Uh-oh. I don't want to be Floyd right now. So the Duncans, they're at the airport. It looks like they got their own private plane. They're getting on the plane, and they see this car pull up, and Marquez ends up pulling out his gun, and they said, relax, look at the license plate. There's more people there. It's called Duncans. You're good. So Nene Duncan comes out, and she says, hey, I'm coming to New Orleans. They're like, why are you coming here? You really ready for all this? Like, yeah, like, I can handle this, blah, 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 blah. So they join Nene with her children to go on to New Orleans. Okay, so LeBlanc family, they're having the funeral. Now, I've seen this happen before. When someone does pass away, they do a funeral. I don't know if they actually go into a church or whatever, but they do this type of march with this big band along with the body in its coffin thing, whatever. They have different umbrellas, and they just have this celebration. Big Shirley, she's there. I think Monique is there, and all that good stuff. So Floyd, he's going to handle some business. He kind of tricks this dude named Todd that was at the Spades game that Pierre was at, that he lost at. He said, I want to talk about Shirley. Then she's like, is everything okay? Like, yeah, she just wants to make sure that you are cool about this whole thing about Pierre. And he said, well, yeah, and I'm about to go to the funeral now since Jean is offering $100K, and he says we might as well go on and tell the truth, and nothing's going to happen. And he said that can't happen, and he ends up pow-powing him and unaliving him. So I already told you that Shirley and Monique showed up at the funeral. She offers the condolences to Jean, and this is the part that kind of like had my jaw open because I didn't expect it. They find the guy that was also another guy that was at the Spades game. I thought his name was Aaron, but they said Eric later on, so whatever. They say, hey, Eric, da-da-da-da-da. They have the umbrellas over them, and they corner him, and they stick him. I'm saying it like that. I'm trying to be cautious, is what I say on YouTube. But they're just, I said, oh. And they leave his lifeless body there, and they go on back to the celebration. So that's what they came to do. Eric was also there. He was going to try to get the money, but he didn't stand a chance. Floyd joins Shirley at the funeral, and he says that everything's been taken care of, and she says it's on her behalf it's been taken care of also. The LeBlanc crew, that's what I'm calling them right now, they show up, and they tell Jean about this man that was in Pierre's car. John sends his wife away, or no, he said that I'll be there soon. He goes back to the house. And he's getting ready to leave. His wife wants to plan a night for them together. So she asks the maid, whoever they are, the assistant, get us a bottle of wine with 2 glasses and make sure nobody comes in our room for the rest of the night. She goes up, she pours the wine or champagne, whatever it is, and attempts to want to have sex. And John was like, look, my brother just died. And she said, well, I think that this would be a good distraction from it. He says that he's going to get a favorite bottle of wine of Pierre's and pour it out with some of the guys, and then he'll be back. She said, well, you won't be back until like 3 a.m., and you'll be up at 3 a.m. Then Miss Marie says, who is it? Who's her name? Basically saying, you're cheating. He says that he's not cheating at all. He is the love of her life. But then I noticed that he doesn't kiss her at all. And he says that I will be back. You have nothing to worry about. I think that there's got to be something going on. It hasn't been revealed as of yet, not even in this episode, but for whatever reason, she says that it's been 4 months since they've had sex. So after he walks out of the room, she said, well, what you can't do, someone else will do. She pulls out her rose, and that's going to get her the job done. Interesting that she is not cheating. Interesting. 4 months? Ooh. And the woman is begging for it? I don't know what's going on in that marriage, but I guess we'll soon find out. Okay, so we find out that more of the crew, they're holding the guy hostage. They have a thing over his head. He's saying, you're going to regret this as far as doing this, and why don't you let me go? You're making me mad. Of course, one of the guys is speaking back to him, and he says, once I get out of this, I want to make your mama pay, or something to that nature. So then he gets, those knuckle ring things that people use to punch people? Well, he got some gold brass rings or whatever, and he punches the dude. Then we flip over to Sheriff Clay. She finds the body that Shirley and Monique took care of. She wants to rule it as a murder and unaliving, but the mayor says, Mayor Ronald is his name, no. I don't want this to be on my record of me just coming into me being mayor. We're going to rule this as an accident and make it happen. I said, okay. I guess I spoke too soon. I already talked about John. Okay, cool. Next thing, we see this car full of black people. And they're talking about robbing this drugstore. I was like, okay. We'll get into further details. I'm like, well, who are these people and why are they doing this? So anyways, Gene goes where his crew is at, where they're holding that dude hostage at. And they're asking, where is he? He's inside. He goes in and demands that he reveals himself. He says, the dude says, I'm only talking to the man that's in charge. And Gene laughs and says, I'm the one in charge. He said, who do you think is in charge? Pierre. And who told you that? Pierre. He's supposed to be running everything. That's what he said. And Gene was like, he did? But basically he says, I'm the one who's in charge. And who are you, and why were you in my brother's car? So then the dude finally reveals himself as Sebastian, which I believe Sebastian is from the OG show, because I think at the time, him and the other dude on there, Lord, he's got the colorful hair. I can't even remember his name right now. But the twin on there. They were always flirting. I don't think they ever really got together, but they were always flirting around with each other. But anyways, he says that he runs all of Florida in the drug business. He says, well, how deep were y'all in business with each other, him and Pierre? There were 5 keys. I don't know what 5 keys is, if that's kilos or whatnot. Any drug experts, let me know what that means. Now, John, who was prepared to unalive Sebastian, says, you might just live after all. because of this connection with the drugs. All right. So Shirley is outside and she sees this limousine, and she's like, "Who is this?" And she realizes it's the Duncan's car. And they see Nene comes out. They give this nice, nasty exchange to each other. She said, "We got this buffet if y'all ready to eat." And they said, "Buffet?" Nene said, "No, I can go to the house and we can cook something." And then she was quite upset with Nene, saying, "Look, you're not the only one that can cook up in here. I don't need all this stuff, da-da-da-da-da. Anyways, y'all come into this buffet and y'all eat, da-da-da-da." So all the other family members go in because they said, "We heard that you need some help and we're here to help." Marquez stays outside as she mean mugs him and says, "Go to her office right now." So that black group that I was saying was in the car, so they end up robbing this pharmacy and they were taking everything in sight, and we're still like, what the crap is going on? So they get back in the car and they drive off, and he's saying, Nene. This one dude in there, he was looking at all these pills that were there. He finally found the bottle that he was looking for, and he said, Nene said that he can't be around her unless he is on his meds. I said, "Oh Lord, we got a loony." What in the world is going to be happening on this show? I do not know. So John and Sebastian, they strike a new drug deal amongst themselves, knowing that Pierre is gone. So I guess Sebastian's going to be a part of this series now. So once they get into the office, Shirley slaps Marquez, and she says, "You betrayed me. I would never even crawl to LC." I know. I didn't crawl to him either. She says, that part of the family, they're into drugs, violence, and quick business. That's not what I'm into. And Marquis says that my interest is not into drugs at all. Sometimes we got to fight, and I needed that muscle. He pleads his cause as I am a grown man now, and I want to protect you as you are trying to protect me. She does say that the Pierre situation has been handled. He said, "Oh, okay." So, Nene is somewhere. Larry Duncan, we find out, the dude that was in the car. I guess this is another brother of LC. He calls Nene and says, "Hey, I'm on my meds, and I'll be in Waycross, and I want you to come on." He found out that she was with LC and all that, but come to Waycross. She said, "Look, I gotta, not right at this moment, I gotta go to New York and then go on to Waycross, and then I'll be on to Waycross and I'll see you." And obviously, this is a person that Nene does not want to see. What's his name? One of Nene's, one of Nene's sons, asked, "So what's up? Who was that?" And she lies and says that it's Aunt Chippy checking in to see that if we got into New Orleans okay. And then Larry is asking the whole crew in the car, "What do you guys think about New Orleans?" I said, "New Orleans? What? I've never been. Well, let's go." Oh Lord, this is going to be interesting. We got a cuckoo dude. They're kind of going to handle some of the comic relief, I think. It's going to be a cool series as all these people are coming in now. We got some of the other cousin Duncans coming in. I think it's pretty cool. So Skunk is one of the dudes that was privy to what happened at the Spades game, where Pierre ended up unaliving himself. He wanted to speak to Shirley, and she said Floyd handles all business matters. He doesn't like being brushed off. Anyways, he starts talking with Floyd and saying, "I want 50K, da 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 da." And Floyd said, "I wish that we could." And in so many few words, "I wish that we could actually do harm to you." And he walks off from him and said, "Look, well, since you won't do what I wanted done, I am going to talk to John and tell him what I know so that I can get 100K. So, is the situation handled? No. So we are on a wild ride, as now there's probably going to be a rival families rising up between the Duncans and also the LeBlancs. Now the LeBlancs are a lot more violent and kind of more of the Duncan style, as far as Duncan's New York style. So I want to see how that they're going to actually maneuver all this, because eventually they're going to have to go neck and neck, and the supposed clean Duncan side of the family probably are just going to have to get their hands dirty more and more. But we have to see. I love the show, and I'm hooked now, and I'm ready to see it to the finale. I'm sure they probably got like 8 episodes or so we shall see how that goes. But tell me your thoughts about the series. I think I'm going to be laughing sometimes and just have my eyes bucked out, and then also my mouth hanging wide open. So you got another hit, Mr. Carl Weber. I love his stuff. He's very good at what he does. All right, but again, like this video, share. You can also subscribe and leave your comments below. Until the next one, peace.